day everyone, we are group 7 and today we are here to discuss the issues in knowledge representation. So before we go to discuss the issues in knowledge representation, let us first know what knowledge representation means. So here it is stated that knowledge representation is the part of AI concerned with AI agents' thinking and how thinking contributes to intelligent behavior of agents, responsible for representing information about the real world so that a computer can understand and can utilize this knowledge to solve the complex real-world problems such as diagnosis a medical condition or communicating with humans in natural language. So, kining knowledge representation is mo ni siya ang maghatag og details sa AI, maghatag og real-world details, mga information nga makita sa atong kalibutan, ihatag niya sa AI aron nga ang AI is moto ang iyang gamiton aron nga ma-analyze niya o ang specific nga butang aron nga ma-solve niya ang mga bisag unsa nga complex nga real world problems tungod sa knowledge representation, makaya to niya nga solbaron. So it is not just storing data into some database, but it also enables an intelligent machine to learn from that knowledge and experiences so that it can behave intelligently like humans. So kaning knowledge representation is mo ni ang way aron nga ang AI is mahimo siya nga intelligent like human beings. So let's say for example katong atong nakita nga video sa una sa kang Sir Amora pag first year nga apple harvester. So kadtong nga apple harvester is aron nga maka-identify siya kung asa nga apple ang mga nahinog na, sugo tong AI, hatagan ang AI og mga information all about sa apple. Now machines di sila makailaog mga name ra sa color ang atong ibutang. Therefore ang color value, which is kadtong code nga let's say kadtong sa red nga code is #FF0000, moto ang gihatag sa AI, moto ang gi-introduce sa AI aron nga iya tong i-compare sa iyang makita nga apple, and kung pareha sila og color value, moto nga iyang harveston, iyang kuhaon ang hinog nga apple. So kadtong pag-input sa color value ngadto sa AI, moto ang gitawag og knowledge representation. Gi-represent sa tao ang details, ang information danang butanga, iyahang gi-describe sa AI aron nga makahibaw ang AI kung unsa ni nga butanga, kung unsay mga attributes nga nanidya, kung unsay mga features nga makita anang butanga. So mao to nga nahimong possible ang apple harvester. So let's go with the issues in knowledge representation, and there are 5 of them. So important attributes, relationships among attributes, choosing the granularity of representation and representing sets of objects, and finding the right structures as needed. So let's start with important attributes. There are 2 attributes that are of general significance, namely instance and ISA. These attributes are important because they support property inheritance. So let's go with ISA. ISA represents the class of an object, and instance represents the thing that belongs to a class. So kaning duha ka attributes nga si instance ug si ISA, nag-support ni sila og property inheritance. Kay kaning when we say property inheritance, ang mga member sa usa ka class is makuha nila ang uban nga uban nga, let's say, values, ang uban nga values sa ilang member sa class murag ma-influence to nila, mo nay gitawag og property inheritance. Murag makasaw sila, murag masundog nila ang ubang values nga gikan sa ubang members within the same class. So si isa represents the class of an object. So kini si isa mo ni ang class, then instance is the members. Let's say butang tao kuan prutas. So fruits mo to si isa, then sa instance na tay mangga, apple, orange, mga nga prutas, kanang mga specific nga fruits mo na ang ato ang instance. Then si isa mao ang ilahang class, which is ang fruits. So relationship among attributes. The attributes we use to describe objects are entities themselves that we represent. The relationship between the attributes of an object, independent of specific knowledge they encode, may hold properties like these following. So first property is inverse. This is about consistency check while a value is added to one attribute. The entities are related to one another in many different ways. So sa inverse, mo ni ang mag-check kung consistent ba ang data, or tawag na to og updated, kung naay idugang nga isa ka value ngadto sa isa ka attribute. Mo ni ang mag-check kung updated ba ang data. So for example, represent both relationships in a single representation that ignore focus. So here we have an example. Team nasa gawas, then so it is Stephen Curry and GS Warriors. So kaning Stephen Curry mo ni ang player, then GS Warriors ang, let's say, basketball team. So si Stephen Curry as a basketball player, siya ang atong gitawag og instance. Then ang GSW nga basketball team mao ang ato ang tawagon og isa. So to use attributes that focus on single entity but to use them in pairs, one the inverse of the other. So sa aron nga mahimo nina, aron ma-inverse ni nato, kaning example is atong mura na to og i-distribute ang value, which is team, ngadto sa isa and instance. So atong i-distribute sila na in the way nga ang isa is inverse or binali sa isa pa. Ano na gitawag inverse. So first we have one associated with Stephen Curry. So team equals GS Warriors. Atong inig-inverse na to dana, one associated with GS Warriors. So we have team member equals Stephen Curry. So ang inverse sa team equals GS Warriors is team member equals Stephen Curry. Ang isa associated with Stephen Curry, ang iyahang team. Ang isa associated with GS Warriors, which is the team member or basketball player Stephen Curry. Next we have existence in an ISA hierarchy. Just as there are classes of objects and specialized subsets of those classes, there are also attributes and specializations of attributes. So for example, consider the attribute height. It is actually a specialization of more general attribute, which is physical size, which is in return a specialization of physical attribute. So sa existence in an ISA hierarchy, mura siya og sanga-sanga branches in a tree. Mura siya og na ang iyang concept. Let's say natay example set, natay set nga physical size, then ang element niya naaadto ang height, weight, mga measurement sa body. So ang element nga height is nabilong siya sa set nga physical size, pero ang physical size lain pa siya nga set, lain pa siya nga element nga nabilong pud sa lain pa nga set, mas dako nga set, which is the physical attribute. Mo siyag na ba kanang kani nga butang nga nabilong ni siya sa mas higher level nga butang, which is kadto pod nabilong pod siya sa mas higher pa nga level nga butang. Mo gitawag og existence in an isa hierarchy. So number 3, we have techniques for reasoning about values. This is about reasoning values of attributes not given explicitly. Several kinds of information are used in reasoning, like height. It must be in a unit of length, or age. Age of a person cannot be greater than the age of the person's parents. The values are often specified when a knowledge base is created. So, dapat dani sa techniques for reasoning about values, dapat explicit ang imong ihatag nga value nga mga data. Dapat klaro siya, masabtan siya sa machine, and in the same time masabtan pud sa tao nga maghatag niya. Like kani sa height, dapat ang imong ihatag nga measurement is na ay label. Kay kung number ra na siya, let's say 168, kung mora na imong input sa height, wa kahibaw ang machine kung unsa na siya, centimeter ba na, meter ba na, inches ba na, feet nga na. Basta kay ug magbutang ka og data, dapat explicit siya, klaro, masabtan sa machine na ay mag-identify kung unsa nga kuan siya, like adto nga height na dapat na ay label aron nga mas mahibaw-an kung pilag unsa gyud ang iyahang length. Number 4, we have single valued attributes. A specific but very useful kind of attribute is one that is guaranteed to take a unique value. For example, a basketball player can at any one time have only a single height measurement and be a member of only one team. If there is already a value present for one of these attributes and a different value is asserted, then one of these two things has happened. Either a change has occurred in the world, or there is now a contradiction in the knowledge base that needs to be resolved. So sa single valued attributes, ang attribute is guaranteed nga to take a unique o specific nga value. Ang value nga madawat sa usa ka attribute is siya magpareha sa uban. Like, okay, for example, kani natay basketball player. Ang basketball player is ang iyang height di na ma-duplicate, di magdubli ang iyang height. Isa ra ang iyang height dan nga time, and isa ra pud ang iyang maapilan nga team. Mao na gitawag og single valued attributes. Kanang imuhang attribute, imuhang values is unique gikan sa uban.
Choosing the granularity of representation. Regardless of the key or formalism, it is necessary to know, first, at what level should the knowledge be presented and what are the primitives. Should there be a small number of or large number of low-level primitives or high-level facts? High-level facts may not be adequate for inference, while low-level primitives may require a lot of storage. Suppose that we are interested in the following fact. John spotted Sue. We could represent this as spotted, agent John, object Sue. Such a representation would make it easy to answer questions such as who spotted Sue? The answer will be John. Suppose we want to know, did John see Sue? Given only one fact, we cannot discover that answer. To answer that, we can add other facts such as spotted XY, saw XY. We can now infer the answer to the question, which is yes. So example is suppose that we are interested in the following fact. si John Spotted Sue. So, ang isa ka question nga matubag ana is who spotted Sue? So, based sa statement, makatubag ta nga si John maoy nakaspot ni Sue. Kung sa AI pa ni, matubag pud ni Ja. Pero, kung ang pangutana is did John saw Sue, dili katubag ang AI ana kay ang giprogram ni Ja spotted man, dili saw. Mao nga himuan og line statement nga magdugang og saw. Pareha ani. Spotted XY, saw XY. So wala ko sure sa akong nasabtan ana nga statement, pero para naho mura nig naghatag og command sa AI para og pangutan-on og did John saw Sue, makatubag ang AI ana. Representing sets of objects. There are certain properties of objects that are true as a member of a set but not or false as an individual. Consider the assertion made in the sentences. There are more sheep than people in Australia, and English speakers can be found all over the world. To describe these facts, the only way is to attach assertion to the sets representing people, sheep, and English. The simplest way in which sets may be represented is just by name. Example is basketball player. The reason to represent sets of objects is that if a property is true for all or most elements of a set, then it is more efficient to associate it once within the set rather than to associate it explicitly with every element of the set. This is done in logical representation through the use of universal quantifier and in hierarchical structure where node represent sets and inheritance propagate set level assertion down to individual. There are two ways to state a definition of a set and its element. First is extensional, like the list of the members. Second is intentional, provides a rule that when a particular object is evaluated, return true or false depending the object is in the set or not. Finding the right structures as needed. This is about access to right structure for describing a particular scenario. This requires selecting an initial structure and then revising the choice. While doing so, it is necessary to solve the following problems. How to perform an initial selection of the most appropriate structure, how to fill in appropriate details from the current situations, how to find a better structure if the one chosen initially turns out to be not appropriate, what to do if none of the available structures is appropriate, and last is when to create and remember a new structure. Issues in knowledge representation. These are the issues in the knowledge representation. There is no good, general-purpose method for solving all the problems. Some knowledge representation techniques solve only some of these issues.